Okay, so what we talked about in the WebEx Live today is how to determine the initial value and the rate of change from a table. So in this story, you can see that it says initially, so that's a keyword. Initially, she deposits $55, and over a course of 4 months, it seems like with each passing month, she added $12. So $55 would be our initial value, and $12 per month is what she's adding. So that would be the rate of change. But without this story here, we need to be able to determine what those values are from a table. So if you zoom in on the table in your first slide, you can always tell the initial value when the input or the X is 0. So we've done this in class before, and sometimes, you know, they will give us everything but like they'll start at 1 and you have to back up the table to 0 to figure out what the initial value was. And then to determine the rate of change, we're just trying to figure out the common difference between all of these numbers. So from 55 to 67 is plus 12. And then from 67 to 79 is plus 12. And from 79 to 91 is plus 12. So we know our rate of change is positive 12. And our initial value, or the y-intercept, is 55, because we always want to look at when X or the input is 0. If we go to the next slide in today's work, we have a story up here about Miles. He has a palm tree. It was 62 inches when he bought it, and it has grown 6 inches per year. So what does the initial value represent? So which one of these 4 choices is our initial value? And then the second question is, what is the output for the initial value? So when X is 0, what is Y? Then again, you can determine the rate of change for every 1 year. That's important. If this is not going up by ones, our process changes a little bit. We're just not going to talk about that until next week. So for every 1 year, how much does the tree grow? From 62 to 68 is 6 inches. From 68 to 74 is 6 inches. From 74 to 80 is 6 inches, and so on. So when you get to the very last slide, it doesn't have a story with it. Instead, it's a fill in the blank. So remember, slope and rate of change mean the same thing. So for every 1, what is this going up by? That's your slope. Remember, y-intercept is the same thing as initial value. So we don't have a 0 in our table, so we're going to have to make one. If we back up the pattern to 0 on the X side, what number would be here if we back up the pattern? And then can you write that into an equation in the form of y equals mx plus b?